This is the third Core 2 revision session. This one's going to be on sequences and series, and in the next 10 minutes we're going to look at the three different types of sequences that we've got to do for Core 2. Arithmetic ones, where the sequence must go up by the same amount each time, for example here just going up by 5 each time. Geometric sequences, where the sequence multiplies by the same number each time. For example here, we're just timesing by 2 each time. And recurrence relations, where we do the same thing each time. So for example here, starting at 1, times by 2 and add 1 goes to 3. Times by 2 and add 1 goes to 7. Times this by 2 and add 1 goes to 15. That's the third type that we'll look at as well. So that first type, the arithmetic ones, this is clearly an arithmetic sequence, and you might be asked to try and find out what the difference is. I've told you here it's 9. We know that because 13 take away 4 is 9, because 22 take away 13 is 9, because 31 take away 22 is 9 as well. So our first term is 4, and each time we're jumping 9 here, 9 here, 9 here. Notice to get to the first, second, third, fourth one, to get to the fourth one, we actually made 1, 2, 3 jumps. And that's where the next formula comes from that's in the formula book. That the formula for arithmetic sequences is the first one, A, plus n minus 1 differences. You take n minus 1 jumps to get to the nth one. We've got two other formulas here. This one here is the lesser used one because it includes using the last term. It says if you want to find out the sum of all of them, you do the first add the last and times it by n over 2. Usually you don't know the last, so this is the formula that we are going to be using later on, and this is the formula that most of the questions are going to involve. Going back to our example, we've got a first term of 4, a common difference of 9. So A is 4 and D is 9. If I wanted the nth term, then un is A plus n minus 1 differences. A, we just said, was 4 plus n minus 1 times by the difference. Although this is sort of backwards as with what we would normally see it, it is just multiplying out a bracket. 9n take away 9, and so that's how we get this answer here. 9n take away 5 as our nth term. To find out total, again, we've got A is 4, we've got D is 9, and I'm asking the sum of the first 12 terms, so n is going to be 12. So the Sn formula is n over 2, that's why I've got the 12 over 2, 2 times the first number, the first number's 4, plus n minus 1. Well, we can do that in our head. 12 take away 1 is 11. 11 times the difference. And we've tapped those into the calculator to get the 642. Here's an exam question to do, to look at. Push pause if you want to give it a go before I start. And if you don't, first one, we want to put the number 1 into our formula here. Sticking the number 1 into our formula, we get 90, take away 3 ones, which is 87. To get the second one, we put the 2 into our formula. So we get 90, take away 3 2s, which is 84. We can imagine this sequence continuing, 87, 84, 81, and so on, going down by 3 each time. Eventually, you're going to get down to a sum that gives 0 because there'll be some negatives coming on there as well. And this is why I picked this question here, which is slightly more interesting than the normal one. We want to add up all these terms from 1 up to, this says from 1 up to k, and we want the answer to be 0. So let's go for that formula again. We've got A, we now know is 87. We've got n. Well, n is how many we want. That's going to be k. And our difference each time is minus 3 because it's going down 3 each time. That formula was n over 2, 2 times the first one, minus n minus 1 differences. Well, n minus 1 times by minus 3. And we're asking for this total to actually end up being 0. Let's do a bit of algebraic tidying up here then. 174, let's multiply this out. That's going to be plus 3n and plus, I think I've made a mistake. Okay, it was just here, wasn't it? It's a plus. The formula was 2a plus m minus 1 differences, and I was accidentally thinking about the 3 here. So what do we got altogether then? It is 174 minus 3n's and plus 3 here. There's the minus minus that's having it. And that needs to equal 0. So it says k over 2, lots of, let's work this out, 177, take away 3k, equals 0. That should be a k, shouldn't it? N was k. Well, sorry about that. This is a multiplication sum. This is this thing times this thing equals 0. So either k over 2 equals 0, or in that case, k is 0. Or 177 minus 3k equals 0. So 3k equals 127, and k equals, that's 59, isn't it? So k would be 59. K equals 0, what does that mean? That means if you had 0 here, if you had no terms at all, if you weren't adding up any of them, the answer would be 0. Obvious. If they weren't adding up any of them, the answer would be 0.